This weapon review is going to be on the Haunted Earth. This is a scout rifle that Dead Orbit sells because they won the faction rally. If you pledge to Dead Orbit during the faction rally, you can buy it for 1,000 glimmer. But if you were not a part of Dead Orbit, you'll have to pay 50k glimmer for it. It doesn't really matter either way. I feel like a lot of people, especially if you're past the point where you need mods, like you've already have a good amount of mods, you probably have a lot of glimmer. So most people I'm generally at the glimmer cap at this point. This weapon's perks are high impact, which means this weapon shoots slow and hits hard. I don't really know why this is a perk. This is just more of an archetype of weapon, but that takes one of the perk slots. And the second perk is increased ammo reserved and faster reload while crouched. A perk that seems so useless to me it might as well not exist. I really don't know why this weapon was given as the winning weapon, because I just don't see why this weapon could exist or should exist. None of the perks are interesting at all. The other two factions weapons, the Future War Cult pulse rifle and then the new Monarchy sidearm, both seemed like interesting weapons to use, and they were kind of different. But this weapon's just kind of bad in my opinion. It fires at 150 rounds per minute, which is pretty slow for the scout rifle class, and its main attributes are that it has high impact and range, but everything else really suffers because of that. Handling, reload speed, stability, all of those things suffer because of how high impact and range this weapon has. In PvE, I really don't know why you would use this ever. If I was going to use a scout rifle in PvE, I would use Nameless Midnight. It's one of the best PvE weapons in the game, and there's a lot of options for the kinetic weapon slot in PvE. This just wouldn't even be on my list probably of top 10 PvE kinetic weapons. It's very bad. And the new Monarchy Scout that was just in their loot pool is a similar archetype and better. So if you wanted a high impact scout like this archetype of weapon and you liked it, the new Monarchy Scout was better, and the Frontier Justice is also better. So I don't like this archetype of weapon at all anyways. It just doesn't seem worth it to me to have such low fire rate and such low everything else just to put everything in a high impact and range. But if you really wanted to use that, the new Monarchy Scout and the Frontier Justice Scout both do it better than this weapon does. For PvP, like all the high impact scouts, the optimal time to kill is 4 headshots. Mida, for example, kills in 4 headshots in one body, and Mida has a faster fire rate, and it is significantly easier to use, and it's better in pretty much every other category than this weapon. So that one less shot to kill really isn't worth me using this weapon at all, especially because it's probably a comparable time once you factor in the differing fire rates. So I would much rather use Mida than this. I'm pretty sure everyone would. That's like the go-to weapon in PvP. That's like the most overused weapon in PvP. So I just wanted to compare it to that to kind of give you a comparison. It will kill in one less shot than Mida, but Mida fires so much faster and is so much easier to use and has perks that are actually beneficial that Mida blows this weapon out of the water, and I really don't feel like this is a viable weapon for PvP. For the high impact scouts, comparing this to all the high impact scouts, this weapon is the best in nothing. It is on the high end of range and stability and reload speed, but it's not the best in either of those categories, and it's on the low end of the spectrum or the worst in every other category that we use to measure weapons. Things like handling, things like aim assist, things like reload speed, or that was actually good at. But all the other categories that you use to measure weapons, this weapon was actually bad at it when compared to the other high impact scouts. It makes sense to most compare it to the archetype of weapons that it's in, because if you like this weapon, there's probably a better choice for you, though I do not think this is an archetype that's worth using. So, like I said, it's best in the archetype, it's best in range, stability, and reload speed, but in every other category, it's either the worst or very close to the worst. I wouldn't recommend using this weapon at all. I don't think it is good. I don't really see a use for this weapon by any means. I don't know why you would ever use this gun. Aside from the novelty of it being new and it being special because it was Dead Orbit's faction winning weapon, I really don't see any value in this weapon. I would never pick this weapon if my intention was to actually be successful in whatever activity I was doing in game. If you do like this archetype of weapon for whatever reason, Frontier Justice and Song of Justice are both better, and they have perks that are actually somewhat useful. So, like I said, if you like this weapon for some reason, you should probably go for one of those because they're statistically better. That's going to be it for this video, guys. It's just a short weapon review, more of a rant about why I don't like this weapon, and I'm very disappointed that Dead Orbit won the faction rally. A lot of the 2 other factions had much better weapons in my opinion. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please comment down below what you thought of this weapon. Are you enjoying it? Are you also disappointed in this weapon? Just leave that in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.
30 seconds remaining.